Hey everyone, Denise here from Sewlimitless, and in today's video I want to talk to you about the coat I made. So let's get started. So the coat I made, it's from Vogue 9069, which this is the pattern here. It is a pattern from 2014, so it's been out there for a bit, but this is it here. I used a poly wool blend for the fabric, for the outer fabric, and then the lining on the hood here in the front, that is just some red satin fabric that I had already in my stash. But basically what it described as a very loose fitting wrap coat. Has front extending into pleated hood, side front seams, pockets, carriers, and belt. Now, one of the views, view A, which is the shorter one here, I did do the shorter one, is the one that I made. It can be made reversible. I didn't do that with this one, but you basically, you use a contrasting fabric and make pretty much the whole thing twice and put it together, and that is your reversible coat. Now this fabric is pretty heavy. It's a warm, hefty fabric, so I would not use something like that for if I was going to make it reversible. Now it does say lightweight woolens, fleece, gabardine, contrast fabric for A. It says also satin and taffeta. So those are basically lighter weight fabrics, which would make sense if you're going to have it completely reversible. So what I did with this, I made this in a medium. Now it fits well, but I wouldn't wear anything bulky underneath it. I also have the pattern in a large. I believe it goes from extra small to medium, and then large to extra, or extra large. Yeah, large to extra large. So I have the pattern actually in the larger size. I would probably do a large the next time if I was going to really wear heavier, bulkier stuff under the coat, because like I said, it's pretty warm and it's not as loose. But that would just be a personal preference, I think. I just don't like feeling constricted in my coats and things like that, so I tend to get them a bit larger than probably what would technically fit me, just because it's more comfortable and I can move a lot easier in them. There are also length variations. Like I said, I made the shorter one. There is a mid-size and a bit of a longer one here, so those are your options for this. Now this came together actually pretty easily. What I wanted to do, my goal for this was a simple, easy coat or jacket. That's why I chose this pattern, because there's no buttons, so I didn't want to have to deal with any buttons. It's just easy to make. I did not really want to do a lining in the coat, although the pattern does call for it to be lined. I really didn't do that. The only reason I lined the front is because, and I'm glad I did, because it does look better, and it just finishes off the front seams here and the hood that's in the back, and it looks nice when the hood is up, to have that red satin lined hood on it. Otherwise I really didn't want to do any lining. And what I did with these seams, like this seam, which would normally be you wouldn't see it because it would have the lining or the contrast fabric over it, I used binding and just enclosed the seams so that would look nice. And I did that on the sides also, in a couple of different places, just to finish off those seams, just in, you know. So that was pretty easy. I just used whatever I had in my stash. I happened to have some that was like this burgundy color, but that's what I just used, and just stitched that down and then pressed it and used the clapper to really press it down flat, and that really helps to keep your seams open and flat. Now I did also have to use a hammer. I believe it was when I was making the belt, and I had turned the belt right side out and then was top stitching across that seam. Some of those seams can be very thick, so I took a hammer to it and flattened it out. It's the same technique that I use when I am doing jeans, and you want to sort of flatten out some of the seams, like when you're doing the belt loops and that fabric can get really thick. Take a hammer to it, do it on the wrong side if you can, and flatten it out, and that helps to just sort of make it a little bit easier for the sewing machine to go over all those layers of material. So that's what I did. Now the only change that I really made to this is there's patch pockets on the front, and I did line mine because I thought it did not call for it in the instructions, but I thought it would look nicer and actually hold up a bit better when you're putting your hand in your pocket or whatever. Like I said, since the pattern didn't call for it, I used this book that I have here, Vogue Step-by-Step Guide to Sewing Technique. This was very helpful, and they have a whole section, a whole chapter on pockets. One of the things I say about having an all-purpose kind of a sewing book that will show you techniques, that's one of the reasons. So this one, I'm not even sure if it's still available, but I'm sure there's something similar. This was helpful in doing those patch pockets because I haven't done a lined pocket in a very long time. But overall, the pattern is easy, it's quick to make, and I actually think that because it doesn't have buttons and a lot of detail, it's actually a very good pattern if you are a beginner and you're interested in making yourself a coat. Now the pattern, it's out of print, but it actually is available on from different places on eBay and Etsy. So if you're really interested, you can check those out. So that is basically it for this my little pattern review for you for my coat. If you have any questions or comments about anything, please just leave it down below. Please give the video a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. That really would help it out a lot. And I thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.